All right. So we are maxed out. So if you guys get any messages from anybody that's freaking out that they can't get on, we did record it, okay? All right. Mandy, you want to sit down and see if we can
We'll just have to like turn it.
We're all here.
Please open it up. We'll just turn it as we need to.
Okay. All right, guys. So we're actually just going to go ahead and we're recording, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're just going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully we can make this short, but get the information out that we need to. We're kind of all have different topics. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. But the one thing that I stress in every Zoom that I do is you're probably going to hear a lot of the same things you've already heard before, and some things will be new. But if you literally, you have to take notes and then you have to put these things into action. Because I think sometimes people will make their 6 lists or they'll make their to-do list, but if you don't really do them and do them consistently, your business won't be built. And I know that firsthand. There's been, the months that I do really well versus the months that I fly or something. The months that I don't do as well, it's all on my shoulders. And I can see that. I can see when every single day I did self-development. I added people, I messaged, like when I complete my 6 list. So just remember that whatever you do, take your notes, but then put it into action. So the first thing that we're going to talk, I'm hoping we have some new ones on here. And like she said, we're recording this for the people that can't join. We're going to talk a little bit about the steps to success. And she has it right here. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is super important. And I remember being the person that I'm kind of stubborn. And so I remember not liking someone to say over and over, well, all you have to do is fill your steps to success to see success. And I'm like, okay, you keep saying that. But now that I've been in actually 2 years this month, I can honestly say this will make or break your business. And now the other side of that is it's okay to have months that don't go the way you want them to. You just can't let that to continue to happen. And one of the things that we wanted to stress of why it's so important, unfortunately, people that join this business, not everyone will continue, okay? Some people, this won't be for them and they will give up. And I think sometimes what can happen is we start to build our teams and we're like, okay, we're good. We have exactly what I need. So let me just focus on what I have. And what ends up happening is between, this month and the next month, some people decide that this isn't for them. Well, next thing you know, your team is falling apart. So I promise if you just continue to focus on this and lead by example, everything else will follow. So super, super important to make sure that you're getting your 4 loyal customers and your 3 distributors. Now, kind of like what I tell myself is, okay, I had a bad month, or if I have a bad month, it's okay, it's fine. But how I have to make up for that is within the next 2 months or within the next month, that just means that I have to get 4, distributors instead of 3 because I need to make up for, not filling it the month before. That's how I tell myself because I'm realistic. Life gets crazy, and so you can't let it get you down, but you have to figure out a way to work around it. The other thing that I think that, I've not been stressing enough, but that's super important, so make sure you're stressing it to your own individual teams, is the 400 Club, okay? I remember when I first joined, and I couldn't wait for Alyssa to announce that I had joined the 400 Club. And for those of you that are new, what that means is that between what you're purchasing and what your customers are purchasing, you have a volume of 400. And the reason why it's so important is you have to be able to get yourself to 400 in order to be able to show your team that it can be done and to show them how to do it because now you know how to do it. So that's something that just make sure you make a big priority and celebrate it because I always say, I think sometimes we forget that it's the small successes in this business that end up turning into the big ones. Just like, when you start making an income. When I first was able to start saying that I was making some money, the first post I ever made was that I had purchased pizza for Matt, Ty, and I because usually it was Matt that was paying for date night. And so that was legit one of my posts. I sold a wrap and I purchased pizza for my boyfriend at the time and my son. And what I noticed was people out there, they're not joining for the big success stories at first. They're joining for the $500. So just don't ever forget to celebrate the small successes, and one of those being the 400 Club. The other thing that I want to stress that I think will help the steps to success a ton is being a product of the product. Now, one thing that I was watching when I was watching Green Carpet live, since I couldn't be there, and I loved hearing this, was that you don't have to have a before and after picture to join the business. You just have to be at least on a journey with some sort of product. So now if you have a before and after, that's awesome. But like for me, I didn't have the money to join the business and purchase all these products. So I'll never, most of you know this, some of you probably don't. My first auto shipment, so the second month in the business, I purchased a box of wraps and hair, skin, and nails because I knew that I needed to sell my 4 wraps to make some money back, but the hair, skin, and nails would allow me to use a product. So my mom took the before picture, and within, it was 14 days, I had an after picture. Now, was it crazy? No, but it was enough when you put it side by side, I had a picture. And at that point, people took me so much more serious because I wasn't selling to them. I was just saying, look what has worked for me. It's no different than the Starbucks drink. It's no different than you posting a picture of something you've purchased at the store. A lot of us post pictures of Lush. Well, what happens? A lot of people go and then start trying Lush. This is the exact same thing. The only difference is because we are making an income off of it, we have to make sure that we're showing them that we're not just selling them something, that we're using it ourselves. Now, the other side of that I like to stress is you don't have to love it all, but you have to find at least one thing that you love and then go from there. For a couple of reasons. One, like I said, I couldn't afford to go purchase a ton of stuff at once. But at the same time, I'll be honest and say that probably, it may even be a year into the business, I finally started to dip more and more into the products. And that's when I actually fell in love with our skincare. I had never used a skincare before. And to be honest, the only reason why I was using it now was because people were asking me, what does it do? So I had all intentions of trying it, telling them that, yeah, I liked it, or no, it didn't break out my face, because I didn't know. But what ended up happening was I fell in love with it. And then, I had another testimony to post. So being a product of the product, I think, in my opinion, is the biggest thing. I can promise you that if you can show people results, one, it makes blitzing a lot easier, or not even blitzing, but it makes people that know you, when they see you and they're like, oh my gosh, you look so much better, or your hair is changed, or whatever it may be that your product is going to be, whatever you would choose. It almost makes, to me, it makes your job a lot easier. So those are the first 3 things that I think are key. That's kind of like a foundation. And then, yeah, so I think Mandy's next, right? Yep. Mandy's going to go ahead and get talking.
I'll throw in one thing real quick. Kim Touchton said it at conference, and it's so true. She said, if the products are not changing your life, the business won't be either. So until you really are a product of the product and fall in love with the products, your business won't really take off either. So
maybe. Okay, so I'm going to share a little bit about what I do every day and what I do daily, and why it's really important to be consistent. So I just wanted to preface this a little bit by saying, like, I know a lot of you probably have followed my story, and I appreciate the outreach, the thoughts and prayers. And this kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm about to talk about, because with Gannon's accident on May 23rd, you may have noticed that I hadn't been consistent. Like, I don't think that's something anybody prepares for, what you're going to do and how you're going to handle that, with the nature of our business being about your everyday life and, happy about life. Like, did I have bad days before? Absolutely. There's lots of days I think you get up and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a hard day, things are going wrong. I always say those are the days when everything you throw in the trash can, the paper bounces out. Like, everybody has those days and it's normal, but it is important to have a really good attitude on your social media site. So given the circumstance of what our family's been through, honestly, that wasn't even, it wasn't even a priority at that point. You know, that's not what you think about when you go through those things. But I also knew this business was why I got to spend time with Gannon for the last 9 months. So getting back into it, like my team knew I was there, you know, within a couple weeks of the accident. I was talking and texting with my team. I knew it would have an impact on my business, not posting, not letting people know that, yes, I'm still heavily involved in my It Works business and I'm not going anywhere. This doesn't change anything because this is what I do. Most people, they have an accident, they lose somebody, they have to go back to work on Monday, or they have to go back to work on Tuesday. I had the ability, and I still have it, to be able to readjust with my family every single day because of what this business can offer. So I'm so thankful for that. But with, you know, like was talking to the girls earlier, and that's one of the things my husband and I knew. When you're not posting consistently, people don't see that your business is open. And when I started posting back about the It Works business, I have gotten messages from people saying, well, I didn't know, you know, I wanted to give you some time. And I'm thinking, you know, honey, that's why I've gotten to do this. Like, that's why I was able to be home with them, pick them up from school, take them to school. But when you're not consistent, people aren't going to be reaching out to you. They're not going to respond to your messages if you're sending them once a week, or you post once a week or every 2 weeks, or you get all hot and heavy about it, you know, for a couple weeks and then you stop for 2 weeks. So people want to be with the person that they feel is engaged and serious about their business. So I'm just going to give you a guide of what I had always used doing every single day, and I'm, you know, doing it every single day as we speak. But adding on Facebook and Instagram is so important. You know, you don't want to be preaching the same message to your same audience every single day. You've got to have new faces that are seeing your stuff, and you've got to be building new relationships. So if you're not out and about talking to 5 to 10 new people every single day, then you can absolutely be doing it on your social media. So every single day, adding on Facebook, adding on Instagram, reaching out with messages, and, you know, people are going to not respond to those. That's really normal. I think Trista's going to talk a little bit about that too. But just sending out those messages and staying plugged in on the group pages. You should never be at a lack of information. I know there's so many things going on sometimes on those pages that it can be overwhelming, but then just pick one or pick two and really look at those pages. Look and see if you're tagged. If you're not tagged, that's okay, because you have to remember it's still your business that you have to be responsible for. And there's so many resources out there for you to be able to be successful. So the pages are great because you're going to find ideas, and you're also going to find somebody that you might relate with. And it keeps you thinking about it, and it keeps you acting every single day. So just a few things to do every day. Pick a number. Add that many people to your Facebook. Find some mutual friends. Now, you don't want that person that you have 200 mutual friends with necessarily, but find those people to add to your Facebook, Instagram. Send out messages every day. Plug in. So maybe doing some self-development and doing your follow-ups with loyal customers, potential loyals, and then potential distributors. And then just, I want to include face-to-face blitzing. So if you're out and about, blitz somebody. It doesn't have to be some big, long, lengthy conversation. It could just be my goodness, you gave me great service. I think you'd really be great doing what I do. I'd love to add you on Facebook so you can check it out. That simple. Like, it's really easy to incorporate into your everyday life. And then just, you know, keeping an eye on like declines, no orders, things like that are important now instead of waiting until the end of the month. So just incorporate it every day. So I think at the end, just ask yourself, if you're not getting the results that you're wanting, are you being consistent every single day? And if you're consistent for a week and day 8 comes around, don't feel like you aren't successful, because sometimes it takes, you know, 30 days, 60 days of being super consistent before you're going to see those seeds that you planted start to grow. So I'm going to kick it over to Trista.
Jess.
Oh, Jess. Hi, guys. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about posting. And most of this is going to be, again, repetitive. But for those of you who are newer or just need a refresher, this will be good. So my biggest thing, obviously we tell you, and you'll hear it every day, that consistency is the key to this business. And it's like Mandy was talking about, it literally will make or break your business. So being consistent day in and day out, regardless of the day you're having, regardless of what's going on. We're fortunate that there are tools, there are apps that will help you. If you're somebody that can't be on social media during the day, if you work full time like most of you do, then there are tools out there. So don't let that be an excuse for you not to reach your goals, because there are tools for you to use. Posting, what we see happen sometimes is somebody will join the business and they maybe haven't been somebody that's on Facebook every day or on Instagram every day. And then all of a sudden it is just a complete spam mail. I mean, it's just one thing after another, before and after, before and after, before and after, before and after. And it gets spammy and it will turn people away. So you don't want to go from never posting anything to filling everybody's Facebook feed with nothing but it works. You have to work it into, you got to work it in slowly and you got to work it in appropriately, because you don't want to turn people away. But you want to be you as well. You don't want to, people will often ask me, I'm posting what you're posting, I'm doing the same thing you're doing, but I'm not getting the feedback that you do. I'm not getting, nobody's liking anything, nobody's commenting on anything, nobody's messaging me. And the key to that is what works for me more than likely isn't going to work for you, because I post according to my personality and how I use the words that I do when I talk to people. I use, just scenarios that are going on in my everyday life that may not come across as truthful or natural for you. So the key to posting is just post and be yourself. Talk about your everyday things going on. Be spontaneous with it and have fun with it. I think, you'll notice that all four of us will just talk about what's going on in our everyday life. We talk about our kids. We talk about, if Tristan and I are at the office one day, talk about what's going on that day. That just spur of the moment, spontaneous posts will come across more natural, and they're going to be responded to probably a little bit better than something that you have really just fretted over. And that goes along with the, there are the apps that will help you kind of pre-plan your posts, but you want to make sure that you're not just doing that, because I think that the posts and the videos that I do just spur the moment, how I'm feeling. I see something or I feel an emotion about something and I share that, because if it sparks something in me, then it's probably going to spark something in somebody else. You want to make them feel something. You do not just want to show products. You're not going to show a picture of a bottle of Fat Fighter sitting on the table and think that that's going to get a huge emotion from people, because they don't care. That does nothing for anybody else. Make it personal. I know starting out, and I was one of these, for about 30 seconds and I got over it, but people will say, I don't want to bother people. I don't want people to think that, that I'm just, trying to sell them something. Well, we are, but you can do it in a good way. You're offering, you have to change your mindset completely. You are offering somebody either some products that very well could change their quality of life or make them feel better about themselves, or you're giving them an opportunity. You may be giving somebody a way out of a terrible situation. So change your mindset. You are never bothering somebody. Don't feel like I can't share this because I'm going to annoy somebody. Well, if you're annoying them, then so be it. That's fine. But you know what? 3 months from now, 6 months from now, after they've been watching you for a while, guess what? They're going to come and knock on your door and want to know a little bit more about what you're doing. Because if you're excited and you're consistent every single day, those people that you annoyed in the beginning are going to be the ones that are going to want a part of this opportunity. Be original. Again, with your posts. If you were looking on Facebook and somebody posted something, would it catch your attention? Would you stop scrolling? We all do the aimless scrolling, Facebook scroll. Would you stop and look at your post if you were posting something? Everybody loves to see faces. Everybody loves to see your family. Everybody loves to see food. They love to see fashion. They love to see, post about, traveling or your dreams. Make it original and make it interesting. Make it bright and colorful. Change up the wording. Use a nice filter on it. Make your pictures and make your posts something that will catch somebody's eye and make them stop scrolling. On the flip side of that, we all sometimes will get a little happy, get an emoji happy. And that just gets too much. So emojis are great, you know, again, just kind of changes things up, but chill it out a little bit, you know, because sometimes they get a little overdone. All right, so now with the Facebook algorithms that nobody understands really, everybody's like, what do I do? What do I don't do? All right, the biggest thing to know with this is that you are going, your posts, if you're just copying and pasting post after post after post, Facebook's going to make it so that nobody's looking at it. Nobody can see it, okay? So what we have to do now is still find what I do. I'll find something, a picture that I like. I will screenshot it. I will edit it. I will, you know, whatever. Use your pictures, share your pictures. That's fine. But don't just copy and paste the verbiage because it's not going to get shared. It's just a waste of time, okay? So switch it up. Make it a little bit more original. Videos. Okay. These make everybody uncomfortable. They give me hives. I feel like I'm going to have complete diarrhea when I post a video. I'm just going to be honest with you, okay? It's true. But videos have been a complete game changer for me. They honestly have. I'm one that I will just like, okay, I'm just feeling like emotional, or I'm feeling like something's happened, or I'm just super excited. So I'm just going to do it. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it out there. I'm not one that's going to do 94 takes of it and make sure it's perfect and send it out. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get done. I'm going to send it out. Those are the ones that get the biggest response. I cannot tell you how many more people will interact with you about your posts if you do a video. So do it. Just do them. And like Mandy said, adding to your network, you know, adding to the people so you're not preaching to the same choir day in and day out. And I know a lot of people will tell me that they are uncomfortable with that, but like Mandy said, you know, adding people that you have some mutual friends with is fine. You know, you don't have to go out. I only add women. Some people do it differently, but making sure that you're adding to your network so that, you know, once your warm market is kind of done with, your business isn't stuck. Okay, one more thing. When you get started, this I see happen all the time, and it's just catastrophic. All right, so when you get started and you make that initial post, like, oh my gosh, I've started this new adventure. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what this is going to do for my family. I can't wait to try these products. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a game changer. And then 3 or 4 days go by, crickets, okay? No posting. That is horrible. What you've just done is completely killed your credibility, okay? So when you get started, make sure that after that excitement, after those posts that are helping you get going and telling everybody about what your new endeavor is, make sure that you're following up with excited posts every day, because that's how you're going to catch people. People want to come to you if you are excited and you are consistent. Don't expect people to be enthusiastic about your business if you aren't being enthusiastic about it yourself, okay? Enthusiasm it's like wildfire. Excitement takes off. So show that in your posts every day, and you'll be surprised about who will join your team.
Holla! Holla.
All right, who's next?
Me.
Okay.
I'm going to hand over this sweet, sweet baby. I don't want to.
She'll probably start crying.
It's been a while for you.
It's been like a long while.
Okay. So one thing I want to say, when Jess was talking about videos, I joined this business because of one video that Brittany made. I honestly had never even, like, the thought had never crossed my mind. I was one of those people that honestly was annoyed with it. I know, like, I was sitting in the McDonald's drive-thru listening to this video, and it completely, obviously changed my life. So I would have never reached out to her because of a post that she made. I don't care how many posts she made. It was purely one video that did it. So I know videos are scary. They're terrifying. My first video, if I go back and look at it, it was horrific. It was awful. But videos, they will change your business. If you're not in, like, with the live videos now, those actually, like, will increase interaction on your page. So if you can go live once or twice a day, that's super huge too. Even if it's nothing to do with it works. If you can just get your life out there, and people will interact with you more. That's not what I was supposed to talk about though. I am going to talk about messaging and how important messaging is for your business. There is no way that I would be where I am without messaging. Messaging can be scary. You feel like you're bothering people, but you never know when somebody needs this opportunity or wants this opportunity, okay? So don't get discouraged because people don't respond and people say no 90% of the time. That's part of it. But you are not doing your job if you're not getting no's, period. If you're not hearing no, you are not working your business. So with that, messaging, I hate scripts. I'll just say it. I hate them so much. People want to know that you are genuine and you're real and you're reaching out to them because you genuinely believe that they would be good at this, that it's something that they could succeed at. They don't want their inbox spammed. So build that relationship. Reach out to people that you want on your team. When I did not hesitate to start reaching out, and that's one of the reasons I took off quickly, is because I literally, before I even signed up, I was reaching out to people. It is a big part of your business. And when you reach out and then you're consistent on social media and you're consistent in using the products, people take you seriously. And it's the biggest part of it. Like the last distributor I signed, she lives in Hawaii, her and her husband. We actually reached out to them a year ago. They had to watch us for an entire year. Okay, so it's not just the reaching out, it's the staying consistent every single day that now they're like, all right, they're legitimately in this and it's really done something for them, so let's reach out. So you can't just reach out and then be sporadic with sharing it, because nobody is going to come back to you and say, I've seen what it's done for you. I see that you're still really excited about it. You have to be consistent with it once you've kind of planted that seed. So people say no, and that's fine. But people's lives change all the time. So you never know when I think Ashley Sinclair says it. She says people's lives change every 9 months. You have no clue when somebody's going to want it or need it. People's job situations change. People get divorced. You just never know. But when you plant that initial seed, people watch you closer. So it's like, obviously, you get a message like that in your inbox from somebody and they seem genuine, they seem excited. You're going to go and look at their page and see, what are they doing? What are they even talking about? They're going to follow your journey even closer. So just know that no does not mean, don't take it personal. It's part of the business. They're saying no to the opportunity. They're not saying no to you. But the number of no's that you get now that is what your business is going to be in 6 to 9 months. If you're not getting no's now, your business will not be growing 6 to 9 months from now. So your job now is to get no's. You will get some yeses along the way, but you want to get as many no's now as you can because you're planting those seeds. So yeah, just the other thing, do not prejudge who needs this. There have been so many times, I don't do it anymore because I learned my lesson, but where I'm like, oh no, they do all right. They have good jobs. For whatever reason, you just prejudge. People would have looked at me and Elisha's life and said, she's a nurse, he's a firefighter, he owns a business, they don't need this. But lo and behold, I wanted it so bad. I really didn't even know how bad I wanted it when I started. But do not prejudge who needs this. I say this on every single training I'm on. There is nothing worse than seeing somebody else welcome somebody to the team that you were too scared to reach out to. There is no worse feeling in the world. So don't be that person. It's up to them. If they want to say no, fine, that's great. But you at least planted that seed, and they're going to come back to you if you're the one who's consistent and you're excited and you're still continuing to build your business. The other thing I want to talk about is leadership. So leadership is not just diamonds and above. You sign up, you're a leader on this team. Act like a leader, especially once you have at least one person on your team. If you have one person on your team, it is your responsibility to be a leader. Someone who joins you is never going to do more than you do most of the time. Almost never are you going to get somebody who's going to do more than you. So if you want somebody who's going to be excited and consistent and posting, then you need to be that person for them to look at and know that, okay, she's doing this, that's what I need to do. People sign with you for a reason, so make sure that you're living up to that. I mean, most people know more than one person who does this, but they picked you for a reason. So don't take the opportunity away from somebody. Now, granted, on the flip side, your upline does not make you successful in this business. So there are plenty of trainings on YouTube. There are plenty of Zooms. There are plenty of resources that your upline does not make you successful. But it is a big advantage if you have a good leader as an upline. So be that person for somebody. Don't, until you're really ready to be all in, if you're kind of half in, half out, don't sign somebody because you're taking a good opportunity away from them more than likely. So be all in when you're ready to sign somebody and run with them. You will have people who come in and you think, oh, they're going to kill it, and they don't. It happens to every single one of us. Find somebody else. Continue to act like a leader, and you will attract the right people into your business. If you are a runner, you will attract runners. So I think that's all.
And I get an amen.
I think that was all I was supposed to talk about. Is that all I was supposed to talk about? I
One
think
thing
so.
to touch base on. Yeah. This is completely random. It's just 2 little things I wrote down. I think, and I've talked about this before, is that I think sometimes what happens is people, they say, and they may even think that I'm all in. But are you really? Because I think that I heard this. It's easy to love this when things are going well. Okay? Well, obviously, that's great. It's hard to love it when it's not going well. You have to ask yourself when it's not going well, if you still are all in, that's when you know you're really all in. Mm-hmm. So the one thing I want to stress is, let's say you are in this business for 2 months, 6 months, a year, whatever, and you're all in, and then all of a sudden doubt creeps in and you're thinking about quitting. All you have done is you have planted so many seeds for someone else. So what's even the point? So I think I always tell people, I don't even know why you would give up, because you just planted all those seeds. They're going to bloom at some point. And one thing we were all talking about, because we were trying to figure out like who's going to talk about what, and one of the things was closing. And I said, I'm not a good one to speak on that, because I thought that one of them was better. And here's my reasoning. A lot of people think that, you know, maybe you think this, that like I messaged someone and then later that day they sign, or I messaged someone this month and then later that month they sign. No, usually people that I signed, I talked to for months. So I'm telling you right now, I would not be where I am today if I was judging about how many no's I received. I'm just glad I was planting those seeds, because now I still can continue to fill my steps to success for the most of my 24 months. I think there's been 6 months now that I haven't out of the 24 months, but I wouldn't have filled them had I not planted the seeds months prior, if that makes sense. The other thing is, and this was actually something that Jess was talking about, that she says, you know, I know it's scary to message people, and I know that you're afraid you're going to annoy them. And I guess what I tell myself is, what other option do I have? Like, okay, so it's scary, blitzing. So I may annoy someone. Well, if I don't do it, I'm going to be in the exact same situation 5 years from now. And that's not where I want to be. So what other option do I have but to just do it? Now, what I will say is, if you're like me, you're really nervous at the beginning, but then after doing it for, let's say, a couple times or a couple months, well, then it becomes easy. I used to be terrified to blitz. But to be honest, I was thinking of it completely wrong. You know, I was thinking of it as I have to walk up to them with a blitz card and I have to offer the business. No, to me, I just make it part of a conversation that someone that I've run into. And I just be honest and say, I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have done things that scared me. And the quote is so true. Success is outside your comfort zone. So once you're ready to leave your comfort zone, then success will be headed your way.
Mandy had something she wants to talk about that. I'll take her back.
Okay. Okay, you're good. No, we're good. So when Trista and Brittany were talking, I had a couple of things just really pop into my head that I've heard a lot, and I just wanted to go back to with Trista. I watched Trista for a really, really long time, just like she had watched Brittany. And in the beginning, I knew that Trista was going to be successful undoubtedly because she claimed it and she owned it from day one. And I think that's so important in this business, because if someone is watching you and they see that you're trying it, and I mean, I hear this all the time with people like, oh, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. If you are just trying this, you will not be successful. Trying is giving yourself an off the hook. You're giving yourself permission to not be successful if you're saying you're trying something. So you have to kind of try it out of your vocabulary, because if you're trying something, then it's okay to fail, right? So you guys know what I mean by that. I'm sure that we've all said that at some point. So you have to start with intention, with purpose, and let your people know that you intend to be successful. You will be successful with them, without them. No, don't go throw it in their face like, I'm going to be successful with you without you. Don't do that. Like, people don't want to see that. But they have to believe in you, that you are there to stay, to support them, or they're not going to want to join your team. And think about it with you. Like, would you want to join somebody's team that you weren't sure if they were going to be doing it 2 months from now? Probably not. So, you have to be really convincing, and to be convincing to others, you have to convince yourself and really have that belief in yourself that you're doing this and you're giving it your best, and you intend and you will be successful. Because when I was watching Trista, there was not a doubt in my mind that she would be a presidential diamond and an ambassador diamond someday, because she claimed it from the very beginning. So she's done it. Like, congratulations, because she is now a presidential diamond. So that's big too. So, the words trying and just really seeing what happens, like, those are all things that you probably won't ever experience great success until you can learn to say, like, I'm doing this and this is what's going to happen. I'm owning it. I'm claiming it. So we're going to talk too. And I've got one more thing. So I hear this too from people. So if you're talking to potentials, and we're going to talk a little bit about sealing the deal, but if you're talking to potentials and your mindset is okay, and if your mindset has anything to do with them joining you as a customer or a distributor because it's going to be doing you a favor, then that's also not a great way to grow your business. If you're trying to talk somebody into something, then it's, they're probably not going to do anything as a distributor anyway. So we don't need to try to talk people into something that is wonderful. Like, this is all about what it can do for them, not what they can do for us. So I think it's just kind of changing your mindset there, because, we don't need it. Like, we are going to do great without them, but we would love to be able to help them be successful. We'd love for them to earn that $500 so they have that extra income at the end of the month to put away for vacation, or we'd love to get them on a great product that's going to make them feel better. But by saying, hey, I need you, or I would love, I need you on my team, or I need you to do me a favor, like, those are all things that are going to make that person feel like your business maybe isn't so great. So just kind of really think about the messages that you're sending with your verbiage. Okay, so now we're going to talk about sealing the deal, right? Yep. So when you're that's you rolling me. So when you're sealing the deal, I think, again, it goes back to what's in it for that person. And if they genuinely believe that the reason why you're talking to them is about them, then it's going to make it that much easier to have them join your team and get started, because they're not seeing it as doing you a favor. And I think one thing I often let people know is that by just signing up, that's not going to help anybody. Like, somebody just literally signing up is not going to do anything for me. It's not going to do anything for them. And, the way we work this business is by helping other people be successful. So I'm reaching out to them because I truly think they'd be great. They'd be really successful at this. But just signing up isn't going to do anything for anybody. So, at some point, I do weave that into the conversation because it is about that person. It's not about us. And the second you stop thinking about it being about us is when your business really starts to grow too. So just, asking their questions, I usually go through, I don't necessarily give a strict presentation. I think everybody handles that conversation a little bit differently, but I always started out with getting to know somebody. So if I don't know them beforehand, like if it's somebody that I've met through Instagram, I immediately try to get them over to my Facebook, or if it's somebody that I kind of have mutual friends with on Facebook, or I kind of used to know 20 years ago, when I talk to them on the phone, I don't ever dive straight into the business because I need to get to know that person. And you could say everything right about the business opportunity, but if you didn't get to know that person and show them that you genuinely care about them, they will probably never sign with you. And they may go find somebody else to sign with. But ultimately, you have to build that relationship because this is a relationship business.
He wants to talk.
Eli.
He wants to talk, I guarantee.
Okay.
Yes. He raised his hand. I believe that means he wants to speak.
Eli, did you want to add something into this?
Can you unmute yourself? I think you can unmute yourself. He just couldn't do it.
You're not at the table.
Why should?
Where is
You
he?
can unmute him.
How do we do that?
I don't know.
Click his picture.
Where's this picture?
We have a question from Eli.
Oh, I guarantee
We have
he
a
wants
comment.
to talk about sealing the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm driving the ambulance, but I'm getting ready to back in. So what am I supposed to do?
You raised your hand. Were you wanting to talk?
No, I accidentally raised my hand.
Uh-huh. Okay. Do you want to throw anything in about sealing the deal?
I don't know if I want to throw anything in about sealing the deal necessarily, but I can say that anytime we have a meeting, you have to go into it with the confidence that you've already achieved your goal. You can't just go into it thinking, I'm going to see how I do. You have to go into it knowing that you have an amazing opportunity to share with this person. And you have to help them understand that they cannot go without this opportunity. And so going into it knowing that you're going to get a customer, or going into it and knowing that you're going to get them as a distributor and be able to share this opportunity with them before you ever go. All we do when we're on our way to a meeting is we talk about how this opportunity is going to change that person's life before we ever get there. And so we're envisioning what it's going to be like post-meeting. Not hoping that they decide to join us, but knowing that they're going to join us and they're not going to be able to go on without this opportunity. I just think going into it with total confidence in yourself and knowing that they have to have this opportunity is very, very important.
Okay.
Thank you.
Be careful. Talk to you later.
Welcome. Bye.
But Eli's right. You're going to want to join a confident leaders team. So you need to be that confident leader when you're talking to the prospect. So building that relationship, getting to know that person, and finding out what their goals are. Because if we don't know their goals, then we don't really know how we can help them with this business. So a couple of quick things I like to ask people. So let's talk income. What would you do with this income? What would you do with an extra? And a lot of times you'll hear somebody say, well, I just want some extra income. Okay. So you want some extra income, great. What does that look like? If it's $200 versus $1,000 extra dollars a month, that really helps you identify where they're going to be at to start with. People can ultimately change. People start off like Trista for a few $100s a month and then decide they want several thousand a month, and that's fine too. But just really finding out what it is that they're wanting. And, if it's just extra, then say, okay, so let's just say you are earning an extra $500 in 3 weeks. What would you do with that money? And I ask that a lot. And then they tell me what they do with that money. So then I help them make it very visual. So then I say, okay, so let me tell you a little bit about this. We have the $500 Ruby bonus. This is, how you go Ruby. There are simple steps in the business, or just simply obtaining 4 loyal customers a month and team members. You do that consistently. That's all that really matters. You'll be a super successful distributor. So just really helping them see how simple it is to get to that $500. The graph is really good. Sending a picture of the earnings chart and the Ruby chart. That's about the only 2 things I ever send somebody. But I think ultimately having them know what they're going to do with that income is huge. If you don't know what that is and you haven't helped them visualize it, then it's easier for them to think about it for 6 more months or 1 more year, whatever that looks like. But if you can get them on the phone, it's so much easier to do those things than just simply texting back and forth. So then I say, girl, I'm really excited. I would love to show you and partner with you to help you get that $500 extra bucks a month. When are you ready to get started? And a lot of times they'll say like now, or I get paid tomorrow, or whatever that looks like. So that's how I feel the deal, and is just really just saying, connecting it back to their why. what they're in it for, and hey, I'm ready to help you get that $500 extra a month. When are you ready to go? And that's what I say ultimately at the end. And I don't say the exact same thing every time because I'm very unscripted. If you were around me for 5 minutes, you'd probably know that. But everybody's different. Every personality is very different. But ultimately, you have to care. And I've said ultimately like 10 times tonight. But you really have to care about that person and their needs and let them know that you can help them. And it's not about you. It's not about signing up. Even though you have your steps to success to fill, it's about helping them because you're never going to climb the ranks without helping other people get what they want. So I will, who was going to talk about it? Brittany? Brittany is also going to talk to you a little bit about how she feels the deal.
Oh, no. Maybe that's me.
Yeah, sorry, Diamond.
Yeah, well, the only thing that I would, my biggest tip with sealing the deal is getting people either on the phone, on a Zoom, Skype them, FaceTime them, get them off of a text message. You can accomplish so much more in 5 minutes sitting with somebody than you can reach over text message. And it's very conversational. I don't have a script that I go through. It's just, tell me about you, tell me why you're interested, tell me what income could make a difference in your life. Like, what are we working together to get you? And it's just very, very conversational, but I'm confident and I know that what I have can accomplish their goals. So, and they feel that and they know that, but getting them, get in front of them, whatever way that is, if they're on, social media, ask them like, hey, is it okay, especially on Instagram, because Instagram puts all those crazy like limits on the length of your message. So just use that to your advantage. Say, hey, it was just so much easier if, because of Instagram limits people's messages. Hold on.
With a dish guarantee price guarantee, $49.99 a month. At the new offer, 3 DVR. 1-800 call dish or visit dish.com.
Yes. Okay. If you're not muted, if you could mute your line, here we go. Okay. It probably is. Probably is him. I guarantee it was. I don't remember what I was saying, but get in front of people. Just be confident in what you have. Share it. Don't be pushy. Don't be salesy. It's not about you. It's about them. Those are my tips. So Britt's going to talk about Diamond Bonus.
Okay, so I'm super excited to talk about this one, mostly because they've never had something like this ever in the 2 years, which says a couple things to me. They're literally going to continue forever to be having fun, changing it up. They know what they're doing. So just be overconfident, just knowing that for yourself and for the people that you're going to be bringing in this business, that you're bringing them into something that they're continuing to reward the people that are willing to work. So with that being said, something that I want to start out with the Diamond Bonus is that there are 2 things that are super important. Make sure, well, first of all, just make sure you read the rules, but you should be reading those on your own anyways. But because most people don't, and I'm guilty of that sometimes, is that you have to make sure you have 4 active and eligible loyal customers personally under yourself. Now, that does not mean that they have to be purchasing, but that means that they have had to completed their 3 months and not have been canceled. So you actually can see it on a screen. If you go to reports and type their name in, beside the loyal customer, it will tell you if they are active and eligible. So just make sure. I just don't want someone to get the bonus and then not get it because they didn't follow all the rules. The other thing that's super important, and this is something my husband and I were talking about, the $5,000 is going to be divided over 10 months, right? 10, that's what I thought. So it's going to be an extra $500 a month on your paycheck on top of all the other pay. That's insane to me. I just love it so much. So make sure that you have those 2, wrap your mind around it. The other thing is a couple reasons why it's so important to go Diamond. I've always kept hearing them say that once you go Diamond, you will unlock the compensation plan. I didn't realize what that meant until I went Diamond, and then I could visually see what it was doing to my check. And so what happens once you go diamond, you start making what's called cab bonuses. I'm not going to get into it too much, but just know your check will start to change. At that point, you start getting paid off things and work that you aren't even doing yourself. That's where it gets insane. That's where the residual income comes in. And who does not love extra bonuses on top of the already amazing residual income? The other thing that I wanted to talk about is I hope each and every one of you that are on here truly thinks, if you're not already a diamond, truly thinks that you can pull this off in a month. Because if you really want it bad enough, I promise you can do it. There you go. She's showing. Yes, you are a diamond. We knew that a long time ago. But just like, actually, I'll bring Amy up. Something that's always been, and she's always been very like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And then that's what ends up happening. And that was kind of the mindset I always had. I always said, I don't know when, but I know it's going to happen. So I'm just going to continue to do what I'm doing because I'm following what everyone's saying to do, and eventually it's going to happen. So this kind of feeds into the next thing that I was going to touch base on is having no excuses. So I'll do two sides of this. One thing having to do with diamond. So let's say you have the rest of the month to go diamond and get that bonus. You may have to sacrifice some family time. You may have to do some parties that make you uncomfortable. And actually, I'm just speaking about myself because I get nervous at parties. You may have to do some things that you don't want to do, but it's going to end up giving you things that you wouldn't have ever had. And what I mean by that is I think a lot of people that join this business, some of you may know that, yes, now I'm a work from home mom. But the first 10 months that I was doing this, I was working full time, which was usually between 40 and 50 hours a week. And for the first couple of months, I was actually a single mom. I was doing everything by myself. And then for the next 2 months, so for the first year, I was still working. And I actually went presidential in my first year. So it can be done if you want it enough. You just have to put the excuses to the side. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't going to be things that may come and rock your world, or things that may make it a little more difficult. I'll be honest. There's this little one right here that, yes, have made it a little more difficult. However, I keep telling myself, and actually for those of you that will follow me, I was still posting from the hospital. I was still messaging people from the hospital. And some people may be looking and saying, gosh, does she ever take a break to actually enjoy, having a newborn? Trust me, I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying it because I'm not going back to work in 6 to 8 weeks. So I can send some messages every day. I can post 4 pictures a day from the hospital because I know what I'm getting. So I think sometimes you just have to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to have to sacrifice some things, but I'm going to get in return things that I would never have gotten 10, 20, 30 years in another situation. For me, in my dental job, I would never have gotten to do the things that I'm doing now. And they aren't even really things that have to do with like spending a bunch of money. It's about being home. And to me, that's priceless. So I think a couple other people wanted to talk about a couple excuses.
This is Jess's. She loves talking about excuses. So we're going to let Jess wrap this up. If you guys have any questions or anything we didn't cover that you want us to cover, you can just pop it down there in the chat, and we'll, when she's done, we can answer any questions.
Yeah. I mean, Brittany really covered most of what I was going to say. Here's the baby. Really, and if you're on my team, you understand that I'm a no excuses kind of person because they make me absolutely mental. They really do. Because you either make excuses or you, what was I going to say? I was like, I say all the time.
I don't know. Can someone tell you what?
What do I usually say, guys? Find an excuse, or you're going to find, or your excuses are going to keep you from your goals, or you're not going to let any excuses keep you from your goals. That made no sense. I'm sorry, but whatever. I've got baby fever right now, okay? My ovaries are screaming at me. All right.
My left boob is screaming at me, so we're going to be done.
Give me that baby.
Anyway, all right. So sitting at this table with me right now, we have 2 perfect examples of 2 moms that have had amazing opportunities to let an excuse get in their way of building their business. I mean, Brittany was posting when she was in labor, for God's sakes. And our sweet Mandy over here dealt with something that no parent should ever have to go through. And here she sits today, ready to build her business because she knows that this is what got her time with her boys. So when I hear things like that, when I want you to think about them. When you are working a full-time job and your kids are in all sorts of activities, and you're thinking that you just don't have time, or you don't want to bother somebody, or whatever your excuses are, and we can all give ourselves a million excuses a day of why we shouldn't do what we know we should do. I want you to think of Brittany and Mandy and what you can do, because honestly, guys, how much time does it take you to make a post? Or how much time does it take you to send a message? Okay, we're talking about little small things throughout the day, but those little small things throughout the day done consistently will change your life. And all four of us sitting at this table right now are living proof of that. So get the excuses out. Don't let yourself have an excuse. I don't allow myself any excuses. Zero, none. I don't care if I'm having a bad day. I don't care if we've got 9,000 things going on. Honest to God, I don't care. But I don't allow it, because what that's going to do is it's going to keep me one day. It's going to keep me from reaching my goals. And it's going to take me one day longer to get there than it would have. So get them out of your mind. There's no place for excuses in your life if you want to change your life. Okay. So I know many of you are full-time working moms, and I get it, guys. But make the time, because it is worth it. I swear to you, it is so worth it. Okay, that's all I had.
The only thing that I might say is, yeah, we can talk about that. You never know when that person is going to reach out to you. So if you let life get in the way, that one person that was going to come in and completely change your business could have been only a couple more posts or a couple more videos away from reaching out to you. But if you stop, you take the opportunity away from that person, plus the person that was going to change your business completely. We all pray for those runners. We need those runners. We need those runners. Well, they could be calling you tomorrow. You just can't stop today. Be the runner. Be the runner. Be the runner. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I said, it came to you, didn't it? It came to you. I was talking to somebody today, and she was like, yeah, my team kind of dwindled out, and so I find myself kind of having that too. You attract what you put out there. If you want a runner, be a runner, and you will attract that. If you're half in, half out, a runner is not going to come to you. If you really have somebody who's going to take this seriously, they are going to find somebody who takes the business seriously. You're not going to get that person that's going to come in and change your business until you are that person. So
if it's worth it to you, you will find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse. That's what I was going for, guys.
I think I'm saying all kinds of wrong, but
she got it. It came to her.
All right.
Okay. So I think the question was something about balance.
Finding balance.
Hold on. Yeah. Okay. I'm really don't believe it. Mom will when I sit down and message people and follow up. Does anybody want to talk about that?
I mean, I did it when I worked full time, I guess.
Yeah, so I'll talk about how I did it full time versus how I do it now. When I worked full time, I think me and Brittany did it pretty much the same. We would get up a few minutes early, make a post before we went, got ready for work, post on lunch break, post right when I got off work, and post before bedtime. That was kind of my routine when I worked. I saved all of my follow-up messages or messages that I sent reaching out to people. I either did it on my lunch break or after my kids went to bed. Yeah, I lost some sleep, and I like my sleep, so that kind of sucked. But I didn't want to sacrifice bath time or bedtime or anything like that. Now, if somebody sent me a message, I will admit I am really bad about if I keep my phone out, every time I walk by it, I look at it. So I found if I'm doing bath time or whatever, I put my phone in my room so I'm not constantly checking it. But if somebody does message me and I'm right in the middle of something, I will just send them a quick text to say, hey, I'm just feeding my kids dinner. I will text you back later tonight, or I will call you later tonight. Just so they know, like, I've seen your message. I'm a busy mom. I'm not making excuses. You can do this and be a busy mom too. It kind of plants that seed that, like, oh, she's working, she's got her kids, she's feeding them dinner, and she's still working her business. But most of the time, I will stay up later and do most of my messaging and those kind of things after my kids go to bed. Or, now I kind of find it harder to structure my day because I do stay at home and we just kind of wing it. But I do try to find times where my kids are busy. And kind of step away. I try really, really hard, though. When I am with my kids, I want to be present with my kids, and when I'm working, I want to be working. Pam actually, when she came to Indy for One Team, One Mission, she said her kids actually never knew that she worked from home, and she was home with them. And I thought that was amazing. I mean, my kids know what I'm doing. They know why I'm on my phone. But that she was that structured, like she had work time and she had family time. And how great is it that we have that opportunity? We get to pick what we put into this. We're going to get out of it what we put into it. But you kind of have to find, I wish there was an easy, like I could say, like, this schedule works great. There's not. But when you are with your family, be with your family. When you're not, when you're working, work. Have your list, get your list done.
And I know a lot of the leaders I know I've talked about, I remember at a conference I'm talking about them actually having office hours, like maybe when husband, if you're at home, Bree, I know you stay home with the kids. So if when your husband gets home, if he can give you a half an hour or an hour where you could go in your room or the office and, be diligent with your time, know exactly, okay, I have 30 minutes right now. This is exactly what I need to do. Send your messages, do whatever you need to do, be productive in that time that you have. And also just remember, I think it's so important to remember why you're doing this. If you're doing this for your kids or for your family, I think it's so important to know that, yeah, maybe I'm giving up an hour today while, they're playing or they're watching a movie or whatever. Maybe I'm not interacting with them for that half hour or an hour, but ultimately, what's it going to give you? You know what I mean? So always remember why you're doing it. And you may have to put in a little bit more time now to get out what your goal is or what you're hoping to get out of it in the end.
Cammie actually said, she talked about the mom guilt at Green Carpet, which another reason, if you can get to corporate events, get to them, because you will hear so many good tips. Just start saving now for conference if that's going to be an issue. Like, it does you so much good to get to events. But Cammie said she finally realized it. She was going to sacrifice a little bit of good now for a whole lot of great later. And honestly, like, that's, I feel like, kind of what we've all done. Like, yes, we've all had to make those sacrifices to get here, but now, like, the freedom is there. We have more time with our kids. I remember last summer, I was in Emerald. I missed the June Jamboree with my family to go to a team meeting, and I was a freaking mess. I bawled the entire night. But I knew that it was important for my business at that time. So I did it, and now here I am a year later, and I'm home with my kids, and I don't have to miss anything that I don't want to. So it is worth sacrificing those little bits to get a lot of good later.
I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to play the other side of that just a little bit, because I think sometimes if you don't find balance, you will drain yourself very quickly. So the other side of that is, don't be on your phone 24/7 and
scrolling and not working.
Yes, and that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I see it all the time with people. I'm like, well, you're on your phone, but I can tell you, and you may think, I mean, I've been there. You may think you're working, but it's not productive. It's not income producing. So scrolling on Facebook is not working. So you can't call that work time. So I think what I stress is, and this is something that I struggle with a little bit, but finally, like, we have a good balance. And I'm guilty of this. Some people will text me, and it takes me a little while to text. I still text that day. But to be honest, you have to continue to love this. Well, working 24/7, no one's going to love that. That's silly. So, and then you'll get the questions like, Mom, why are you on the phone all the time? So that was one thing that I found that was super important, is find the balance. Make sure you're not always doing this all the time, but make sure that when you are doing it, you're productive. And I can promise you, I think one thing she said is, you got to put the time in to get, more time later, but you have to put quality time in. That's the difference. I think sometimes people get where they're like, man, I've worked like, 3-6 months and I've been productive. I feel like this is all I ever do and nothing's happening. But you're probably not doing income producing tasks. It's just silliness, if that makes sense. So cut that in half and do things you should be doing. And I think you'll see a world of a difference, and you'll even feel better because now it feels like it's fun again. And you're reaping the benefits from it. So I think you have.
What about rebuilding?
Rebuilding. So
I have a big one on this, but I can't put the question is.
What
About rebuilding. Okay, so the best thing I ever heard is you're never rebuilding.
amen. This was
And-
big at Green
And
Carpet.
this is going to sound rough and tough, but let's be honest, that's how I am sometimes. If you continue to build every month, you'll never, ever rebuild. And this sounds bad, and I promise I do have a heart, even though some people think I don't. I do get sad when people quit. I do hate it when my personally enrolled decide to give up. But the reason why, but I feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for me, because when I had them join, I didn't have them join for me. I had them join for them. So if they're deciding not to do this, so be it. Okay. And the reason why I don't ever feel like I'm rebuilding is because you should be building every single month. So that's the other thing, is like, when someone quits, don't get me wrong, my business isn't always perfect. I mean, I've been very, very, very close to ambassador for 3 months now. But it's just not been in the cards for me. And so I'm not saying I don't ever get frustrated, but in my mind, if someone wants to be done, perfect, because guess what? I'm continue to build my business, and I will have someone to replace them, or I will run with someone that wants to run. So I know it sounds rough, but really, in my opinion, you're never rebuilding if you're continuing to build every month.
Amen.
So,
When you're connecting to potentials, commenting like, I feel like I scroll a lot, but I'm going through potentials. Okay, so what I have found works for me, and this is just what works for me, is I pick 10 people a week to build that relationship with, and I work on like them. So I'm not just like scrolling randomly. I have my list of 10 people, and I put them on my See First list on Facebook. So some people do just like separate groups. Some people, you can do a See First list. So where you go to either follow or unfollow somebody, you can also put them as See First. So their whatever they post will be what pops up very first on your timeline. So I pick 10 people, and I will spend 1 or 2 weeks interacting with those 10 people, and then maybe shoot them a message. If they're kind of interacting back and I like, they're positive, they're hardworking, whatever. And then I'll move on to another 10 people. But that has kept me from just randomly scrolling, because obviously.
You can like and comment all day long.
Yeah. I mean, you could, but it's so random. You're not really like, you're not organized with it. So this has helped me become organized with it. I find my 10 people, I interact for a couple weeks, and then I'll move on to a new group. I don't know. Anybody do anything different?
Like that?
Okay.
I wanted to say something about the sacrifices piece. So I think with this business, there are sacrifices that have to be made. But I think in life, there's going to be sacrifices to get wherever you want to go. So think about, I know some of you are working 9 to 5. Some of you maybe are stay-at-home moms that don't have a 9 to 5. So, maybe you don't want to sacrifice a little bit to have that extra cushion because you're getting by without it right now. But I think when you think about what if something changed in your life, maybe a pay cut by your significant other, or something happened and you had to go back to work, would you like thinking about the what ifs? Like, what if I just would have sacrificed a little bit or incorporated this into my life a little more, then I could have had like a 5-figure a month business, or maybe $3,000 a month. It would have saved me from going back to work. So, your situation now isn't maybe what your situation is going to be 9 months, 12 months from now. So just kind of thinking about those things is really helpful. And then if you are working a 9 to 5, like I was a corporate mom, I was traveling 3 to 5 days a week. And it didn't feel good to not be there to tuck my kids in at night. And I finally came to the conclusion about a year ago that, I've made so many sacrifices for my family. I did it for my family thinking it was going to give them a better life. But ultimately, at the end of the day, when I have my, at the time, 3rd grader telling me, like begging me to quit my job because he doesn't get to go home and see his mom like the other kids do, then what were my sacrifices really for? So I think you have to think about what your sacrifices at corporate or your 9 to 5 are really like, and what are they compared to what the reward that you could potentially get with this business. And I think what, you might not realize is, and I can say this because I knew the industry. Like I came from working corporate in the direct sales industry. It is not common to have so many people that are making the kind of money that we have here making with It Works. Like it is not common at all. So you are in the right business. You are in the right opportunity. It's up to you to decide what you're going to do with it. Are you going to take advantage of the opportunity and work it? Because if you're working it and you're disciplined with it, you will get the payoff. So what's that sacrifice look like? Are you willing to sacrifice a little bit to have a life that, you're not going to have to make sacrifices for in the long run? Like I have my 9-year-old with me pretty much wherever I go now. Like we've been able to get back to a normal, if you even want to call it that, life with him and still be getting a paycheck. And I wouldn't be able to do that anywhere else. Did I want to have a stay-at-home family with a family of 4? Absolutely. My life is different than that, but I'm embracing that and I'm moving forward. Like the sacrifices that I made now for 6 months ago are giving me what we have now. And I'm not about to disappoint my 9-year-old because, it might be a little bit hard to move forward, because what would be really, really hard to move forward is to get back on an airplane or have to say goodnight to him over the phone. So think about that. Everybody has a different situation. You have a different story, but what's it worth to you?
Thank you, Mandy. So somebody asked how I stay focused with my 10 people. So what I do, if you go into Facebook and you just pull up, this is not one of my people. I'm not friends with them. I can't do it. Okay, I'm friends with her. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but where you can go to following, if you click on that, it gives you the option to unfollow, follow, or see first. I make them see first, okay? So every time they post something, it puts a little star on their name, but every single time I open up Facebook, they will be at the top of my news feed. So it makes it super simple. They are there. If they posted something, it pops up right on my news feed. Very first thing. So that's what I do. How many people should we add on Facebook each day so we don't go into Facebook jail? So you have to find the number that works for you. And with Facebook jail, I have found it's more connected to the kind of people that you're adding or the number of mutual friends that you have, whether or not you go to Facebook jail. There were a couple months where I was adding 100 people a day, but because I was adding the right people, I never once got put into Facebook jail. It is all about, like, you don't want to be adding a ton of people that only have one mutual friend. That is the biggest kind of thing that would get you flagged. I usually shoot for like 5 to 10 non-It Works mutual friends. I stress that a lot. Like, don't be tapping into somebody else's market. Make sure that you don't have a lot of It Works as mutual friends. It's other people that are mutual friends. But I shoot for like 5 to 10 people. And like I said, there would be days where I would add 100. Right now, I try to add like 30 a day. It just kind of depends. But you find your number that works for you and like try and find your quality friends. Don't just add anybody and everybody. Like, I try to find people who would relate to my life. So moms with little kids, because that's who I'm going to be able to who's going to relate to my story the most. So kind of be selective in who you add to. Anybody else want to say anything about that?
So I was just going to say, maybe if we could just give like our couple tips for anybody going for the diamond bonus this month. I would say for me is to think about, you all have a list of probably 5 people in your head right now of people that have either reached out to you about joining or people that you really want on your team. If you're going for this diamond bonus, guys, you've got to reach out to them. You have to tell them why you want them on your team and create that sense of urgency of why it's a good time. They have an entire extra month to hit the Ruby bonus. Talk to them about the potential of the $100 weekly bonuses. Another key too is for building kind of a strong team quickly is to talk to them right away about why it's important or a good idea to sign their spouse or significant other, and do that quickly. They're in one of your Ruby spots. You've already filled 2 spots by doing that. So having them add their spouse, pretty early on is going to help you kind of build that chart early on too with somebody that they want to help get going. So those are kind of my things. You guys have anything?
Launch parties are so important. So when you sign a new distributor, you want their people to know that they're excited, they're serious, they can't wait to tell people about this. So get their launch parties scheduled immediately. Especially if you're trying to go diamond quickly. Like if you just joined and you're trying to go diamond this month, it can be done. Parties are a great way to do it. I know they're scary. It's, you don't really feel like you know what you're talking about yet, but there are tons of YouTube videos out there. Ashley Olive has great YouTube videos for parties. Tiffany Herr has done live parties. There are tons of resources out there to see how to do parties. Parties are a great way to get in front of a lot of people, and that they can hear you're excited. You might not know what you're talking about, but you're excited, and they pick up on that. So,
and I think too, with going diamond in a short amount of time, can it be done? Like, you ultimately control your business. We know that, and we know that you have the ability to help build your team. But I think what's really important is identify the people who want to go for that $500 bonus, and they're not looking to just get it by the end of September, or they're not looking to just get it by the end of October. Who are the ones that want it now? Who are the ones that need that $500 paid out to them by September 15th? And it just takes 3 of those. 3 people that want that $500 by September 15th can make you diamond. And, can you do it alone? You can, but it's going to be a lot easier if you've got other people excited and they're working the business for themselves too. So, if you haven't already found, 2 to 3 people on your team, and you need 3, maybe you're building a spouse, that's fine too. You still need 3 rubies to go diamond. So find those people now. Maybe it's somebody that hasn't even signed up yet. I've seen people go ruby in 2 weeks. It's just a matter of deciding that you're going to do it and going for it. So if that person's like, yeah, that'd be great if I could get that $500 ruby bonus by October, that's probably not the person that's going to help you go diamond. They may, in some piece in your chart, they may be an executive, but those aren't going to be your runners for the month of August. So, start sending messages out to your team tonight. Your hot potentials, like, let them know, hey, I'm serious about helping 3 people this month get a $500 ruby bonus. I just want to, who do you want that spot? Great. If they do, awesome. Run with them tomorrow. But 3 people makes you diamond. 3 rubies make you a diamond.
Yep. Ignorance on fire. Actually, this is one of my favorite quotes from Green Carpet. Joel Dunn said, ignorance on fire will always outrun knowledge on ice. And it is so true. You don't have to know everything to get going. You just have to get going. So I think we're good. Yeah.
All right.
Bella's got to eat. So
I gotta go.
All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for hanging in. I know it was long. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, ladies.